Hello, everyone. It's me, Kaisa, avatar to seeker, messenger of truth. Today, I'm going to discuss some very controversial, sensitive topics. They're going to trigger in all kinds of ways from all different spectrums of life. But the purpose of today's lecture is in regards to moving forward. There's no way that the world could possibly heal if we keep holding on to the past. In the spiritual community, we are taught detachment, how to forgive, move on. And as your heart heals in that, it no longer becomes a memory of emotion. It becomes a memory that fades of an occurrence, an event that took place that was unfortunate, but we've moved past it because we're raising a new generation of humans, a whole new mankind, one that's loving, one that's holds people accountable for their actions, misconduct, inappropriate behavior, and the freedom of choice to practice your religion. We're teaching how to forgive, come from a place of heart mind center. The mind you have in the ego consciousness, it thinks, cognitive thought. The mind you have in the heart. So the body holds two minds. In the spiritual community, also in the religious communities, in the religious sectors, we're taught not to react. I'll repeat, we're taught not to react. We do a temperature check. Is this a trigger? Why is it a trigger? Where did it come from? And then we respond. We exhale. While we're exhaling, don't take an inhale. That's the last thing you want to do. It keeps you puffed up. People say, oh, take a deep breath. No, you don't. You exhale and expel that immediate trigger response or reaction, and you don't come from a place of ego. You come from a place of heart mind center. Is it worth the argument? Is it worth fighting? Is it worth your time? Is it worth sacrificing your inner resting in peace? If it's not, the response will show this. Are you willing to go the distance in whatever that response is? Now, on another leg, as a psychic, we know check in first. All right. We don't just do anything on our own. We go past the heart mind center. We don't even attribute to anything that the human wants to do. We come from the subconscious which is our etheric supreme being. And we check in with our guides. Was this supposed to trigger us as a lesson to us of something that we need to heal, work on, correct? Which lets us know, don't engage. We have a trigger. We need to work on this. This is a part of what our lesson is to evolve, to be able to ascend. Okay? Now, with that being said, we look at being Christ-like. Right? Ascending, crystalline, like. Okay? Now, this is what the true meaning of being an awakened soul means. We check in. Okay, so that's the first one. Is it something of that nature? What could it be? Are we supposed to trigger that person with whatever it was offended? So that will have an impact. Excuse me. That will have an, I'm going to speak this, throat chakra issue. So we're going to see if that is supposed to be a response that's to trigger them. So it wasn't about us. It was to trigger them. But in the meantime, the soul contract that was created between the two of you in the etheric realm before you descended said, hey, and this is such and such time, and this is such and such date, I'm going to come into your life, and I'm going to trigger you, and you're going to trigger me, and we're going to work on this, because if we have not healed this within ourselves, it's that time. Okay? Now, what's the next reason that would take place? Do you understand? It's a test sometimes to see if we have already healed it. I recognize this. We're dealing with self-awareness of our self-realization, put into motion and into check. I'll let that sit for a moment. This is what you call advanced technology. I'm sorry. Advanced mechology. All right. MECHOLOGY. So my guides are saying to me, it's me ecology. It's me tech. We are AI humanoids, right? We adapt, we learn to whatever our environment is. We adapt and we learn, period. We grow and develop and evolve daily, right? This is how we develop. So we are the original AI. Therefore, it's me technology, which is mechology. All right, here we go. With that being said, let's get started. I'm going to repeat myself one more time. This is a warning, an alert that may trigger or will trigger quite a few of you. But please share. It's to plant seeds of thought. Ready? Okay. Let's start with symbolism. All right. We're going to remove in the world to make it evolve into an advanced state. Okay. And the only way to do that is to remove stereotypes, remove symbolism, and bring them back to their originality, its place of origin. So if we remove the stereotype and the stigmatisms, we can advance. All right, here we go. It keeps coming to my attention, the swastika, right? The swastika is not the original purpose, okay? I've included, as you can see on the screen, what it originated from, okay? It's like thousands of years old, and it was stolen to be corrupted by an evil source. What's the first thing you learn about an enemy? I'm going to cut away for a minute. Right? You take away its power. Right? How do you do that? You don't care. I don't know if many of you, detachment. There you go. How many of you have seen the movie Nightmare on Elm Street? And Freddy Krueger comes into the dream, and it takes everyone's fears and, accelerates them on such a massive scale. He uses it to do away with them, take their lives away, and this is his power. But if the star one day, I'm trying not to give away the movie, so I'm trying to talk around it a little. One day, during the dream, she turned her back on him, and he disappeared. She took away his power, and she took away his power because she removed the fear, and the fear was simply that. It's a mental psychosis of insecurity. Back every bit of energy I gave you. You're nothing. Dwell, and here's the takeaway of the takeaway. Do not dwell in what ifs. This is why people have faith. Okay? We don't deal in what ifs. We live in the moment of now. There's a sense of preparedness for different things. Like, okay, it's supposed to rain. I'll bring an umbrella. That's simple. But dwelling on what if this happens, what if that happens, and things that you have no control over, why bother? The universe is only going to present that, and you're going to, here was a cutaway of a cutaway of a cutaway, is going to bring that into your life through your own inner projections, and it becomes a manifestation of co-creation. I'll let that sit for a moment. And that's something that you don't want to do. Co-create with universe of inner projections of fear into the manifestations of your reality here. So I'll let that sit. With that being said, let's go back to the swastika. All right? The swastika, as you notice, was created, I don't know how many years ago. We're going back 12,000 years to India. The actual word swastika means good. Good to be. See, now I'm going to cut away to the cutaway of something. Satan / evil source is not a creator. It can only destroy it. This is what I'm channeling here. It takes something good and destroys it. It takes part of a truth and creates this huge deception of lies. And I'll let that sit. This evil being that I will not use his name, but we all know the little man with the little mustache. He took something beautiful and did this with it. It's a symbolism of his own insecurities. Now, I'm going to cut away for something that I've channeled about that little man. He used to get visions, and then he had a huge ego. All right. When you don't understand what you're receiving or where it's coming from, this is what you get. Okay? This is what you get. Now, let's go back to the Bible. Here we go. People have, and I just did the video the other day about how people created the religion to stop people from something happening, right? So this man figured he would create a perfect environment, but that was from his perspective. The perfect human. That's what it was all about. And some, other personal insecurities. But that's, him, superior race, which is very interesting because he was nothing of that. Okay? But I don't want to get into that. So then we have the religion trying to prevent people from being in personal turmoil and struggle, their own mental hell. Okay? Now, good fortune is what it meant. And it meant the 4 winds in the Native American culture. The swastika represented the 4 winds. So imagine this is how it was all this time. Then along comes this little man and he's changed it to something horrible. Just saying. Okay. Now, let's move to what it represented. A horrific moment in history. But let's put it into perspective. A hate crime, which is against the law. So let's put that in perspective in holding people accountable. Remove the emotions, remove the feelings. Let's be honest, there's only a few people left on this planet that it directly affected. All right, that experienced it. So let's remove that because it didn't happen to you personally. But it's our responsibility as the future generations of our forefathers to make it right. So how do we do that? Remove the hate. It's just going to keep festering if we do not put a stop to it. Remove the power, which is the fear of what it represents. Therefore, hold people accountable. If you see it somewhere and people are demonstrating with it, then say, hey, that was a hate crime. We need to deal with that accordingly. So there is a law that is equivalent that will handle that. We need to maybe make a little amendment on this law. It represents a hate crime, and that means you're supporting a hate crime against a specific group of people, which means what? It's against the law, which means what? They should be arrested. Yes, we have a right to represent something that we uphold, but we don't hold them accountable for upholding a hate crime that's against the law. Let's start with that. Let's put the swastika back where it's supposed to be, which represents good. The four winds of change. Let's start using these things against them. This is what a good plan to defeat your enemy. Use their own devices against them. I know this is going to be hard or very challenging to wrap your head around, but if you think about it on a level, let's take away the power. They had no right to take a symbol of goodness and create such a crime of evil. Then the healing can begin. The problem is the history is just talked about. But and all they're doing is just repeating the history, regurgitating all this hate, and just it's never, no healing can happen. Stop teaching children how to hate. Stop it. They come here loving and adoring and know nothing of this. Teach them truth. Teach them that the little man with the little mustache took a beautiful thing and created something ugly. Let's start there. Moving to the next. This is going to really tick some people off, but I don't care. When a child is born and they're given their first little box of Crayola crayons, it has all these beautiful colors, which really represents the rainbow of colors, represents the chakra system. The gay community took a symbol of beauty, which represents the 7 chakra system, and the rainbow of the sky of hope and peace, and took it to represent them. So now a child can't use a rainbow like you always are taught. We can't use the beautiful rainbow without being accused of being gay. Create your own shit. That's what I'm saying. For everything, create your own. Now, the 7 chakra systems is green for the heart, and you have purple or an indigo for your third eye and your crown chakra. Yellow is for the solar plexus, red is for the root chakra, orange is for the sacral chakra, and the blue is for the throat chakra. All those beautiful colors represent a being. and its chakra system, its energy source, and how everything works. Teach your children that. Say, this is what it was originally for, and this is what it was turned into. I'm going to move on to the next one. We're dealing with the white hoods here. They're ghosts. Treat them as such. They represent a huge hate crime. I repeat, they represent a huge hate crime. How dare they take a Christian symbol and burn? What's that for? It's rhetorical, people. Rhetorical. It represents one's faith. We have to stop the hate growing. There are so many blended families. My own family, I have what I call Caucasian grandchildren. A beautiful blend of vanilla and chocolate. People get vanilla and chocolate swirls ice cream all the time. How are they supposed to? They're the new next generation. How are they supposed to fit in here? True diversity is acceptance of love. Coming from Heart Mind Center. Namaste. My soul acknowledges your soul and its journey, and I respect that. We don't force hate, anger, and people's personal fears and insecurities come to life. It's a time of love and peace. There's no sense in praying for peace if you don't take action for it. If you keep promoting love and hate crimes, and never letting it die. Fight back with love. Use the SWAT. Let them know. That means good. The 4 winds of change are coming. We love you too. Stop the hate shit. I'm serious. Just cut it out. When is enough going to be enough? Peace comes and starts from within. It's a healing process. I hope that this is making sense. Yes, it's controversial, very triggering. But when is the change going to come? This is how it has to start. It has to start. It's our responsibility as the generation of the children, our grandchildren coming up. They're the future. All this violence, children are angry because they are a different breed. They're sensitive to hate, anger, hostility, chaos, this madness. They're showing it in their behaviors. All this violent crime in schools. The solution is not to take your kid and put it somewhere. It's to start teaching. You want to see a difference? Become a teacher. Bring things back to where a teacher was a respectable position. A teacher's position, job, and responsibility is to teach acceptance, to teach how to share, to teach how to adapt to others' opinions, views, to appreciate the differences of cultures and other beings. And along with, the education part of it, the fundamentals. Then the child's supposed to come home and say, hey, we learned about blah, blah, blah. So now, what you're going to do as a parent when the child comes home all excited, I learned about this culture and this colored race and this is whatever and blah, blah, blah. Are you going to go back to the history of the old shit and bring it up and now teach hate? Whereas the child was excited about learning about the cultural differences. Give them balance. Say, this is what happened, but this is where they stole it from. Then they can develop and evolve into functionable adults without hate. I heard the word cultural ethics. I guess that's what this is all about. You don't have to like my human, but I am here as a messenger of truth, spreading the message that the divine wants relayed, conveyed. Do what you want with it. And I know I've set the seed. Good luck to you all during this healing process of ascension. The awakening is rough. And if you don't have a connection to the divine power, it will take you over. Love to all. Peace to all. Wonders to thee. Ciao.